try this. Mysterious Raven. I should do the Teen Titans Go Raven. Be done. So the thing about cloaks is you want to really draw the head first and put the cloak on top of it. So draw over the head. That way the cloak will be seated correctly. Already, I see her face is in shadow. And then she's got these two amulets right here. I don't know, I'm not feeling this right here. Center line here, arm socket, arm, elbow, forearm, hand, shoulder, arm, forearm, hand, waist, pelvis, thigh, knee, calf. I'm just yelling out body parts. Tailbone, cerebellum, amygdala, pituitary, frenulum. All right. Try to do this quickly. She's got a mysterious cape. It kind of swirls about. My guess is she doesn't go to Disneyland often. Okay. And drop that shoulder down. Okay. She's got one of these capes, hoods that kind of come out. Alright. As you can see, I'm kind of drawing not too closely to what I put down. Pencil. I feel pretty warmed up, so at this point I feel I can kind of draw unsupervised. Kind of break away from some of the pencil roughs as I kind of let the drawing kind of come to life through the inking. Alright. This 0.5 is kind of burnt out. But I'll use that to my advantage and get some really scratchy lines here. I use whiteout to kind of pop that eye back out. Kind of disappeared on me a bit. I don't know if I've ever drawn Raven, to be honest. maybe once, no, maybe never. This might be my first raven drawing ever. No, I take it back. I've drawn the Teen Titans Go version for my kid. For Sienna, actually, the one that just got into school. She was a big fan of Teen Titans, not Go, but the incarnation before that. But it was the cartoon. Did a very cartoony version of Raven. So in my mind, I'm basically just drawing a vampire with a cloak. This is Kate's. She was all into Raven too. I don't know if it was a semi-autobiographical choice. Character that doesn't sleep. Okay. I will have to burn my eyes out afterwards, though. Okay. Try to be mindful of the time. And got the amulets here. Amulets. Okay. This marker is so dead, it's getting a very sketchy line, which is kind of cool in that it's almost like a pencil line. It's not super dark, but I do have to be careful that I do not lose it in this shape. And when I say lose it, I mean that the pencil line and the ink line have kind of the same value from what I'm seeing here. And so I can go in here. But this is going to be dark, but I'm going to leave the kind of the white areas around her head here. Let's see what happens if I keep it smudgy. Smudgy, isn't that a word? Art term? They teach that in college. This was my blue period. I really wanted to focus on the art being an extension of the human experience, the human condition. So I went deliberately little smudgy. And 1142. Okay, now I've got it's dried out a little bit, so I can do kind of some of the gray shapes here. For sure, this is going to be black over here. So if that's the case, I can go ahead and make this all black. And if that's the case, that must cast a shadow like that. This head casts a shadow over here. And let's see what happens. That amulet casts a shadow there, that casts a shadow there. Okay. Okay. The cape is over here. Okay. Then this has to go to black too. Got a lot of things going to black in this drawing. Okay. Thinking that our cape will be do something like this. I'm not going to have the cape the cape's going to be more down behind her, so that allows me to basically trap this area in with black. And then go all the way up to here. Okay. Go all the way to black. black over here. Okay. Okay. Make this a little thinner. Okay. I forgot what I used something in the house. Okay, that. Wants to add more shadows. Kind of bring this leg down. I'll take it. Those guys have a lot of footage. They're always like streaming, right? I wonder how many years he worked on that show. Okay. Trying to so that my kids can stream me forever into the 22nd century. People go, what does he mean? What does smudgy mean? I don't understand. What is this iPhone he's talking about? Everyone's got like an implant in their head at that point. I mean, and now I'll be like, oh, I'm looking at my browser. And people will be like, what's a browser? At birth, we have all the knowledge of the universe implanted into our brains. So the goal is to make it look like she's almost kind of coming out of this crimson hellfire smoke. Kind of what I'm shooting for. Okay. So the idea is to make a lot of the edges, especially on the cape, kind of smudgy. It's almost like kind of blending into the smoke around her. It's like, where does smoke begin and where does her cape kind of start? It's kind of what I'm thinking of. At least we'll see what happens. I keep working this. It does. That's a pretty good marker, I could tell. Basically clean up some of the edges, some of these kind of triangular shapes that are very hard to kind of achieve with a blunt instrument like Kleenex. Kind of soften her jawline a little bit. On these amulets here. Sort of a little bit of a reflection, a little bit of underlighting at the bottom of the amulet. Same thing over here. You see the pen kind of go all around. Obviously, it's not always touching the paper, so it kind of throws people off sometimes. It's like it's moving across, but it's not drawing a line. So I kind of just put it where I want it. Okay. That's her arm. Kind of clean up that shape, those lines, the costume lines. Kind of create those gray tones here. So let me show you what I planned for the eyes. It's going to be more over here and here. And then I'm going to draw back around it, but I wanted the eyes to be roughly there. I'm going to fix this lip here. While we wait for that to dry. About that nose, I just want to make it a little bit smaller. Kind of like reconstructive surgery on the face a little bit. What happens? Kind of like that. And then I could do something over here too. Again, with drawing with white out here. Just something a little different. I'm seeing her cape, her cowl, as sort of very heavy, thick cloth, wool. All right, so I'm pulling out the whites. Okay. And I like how kind of like this, the top part of her hood just kind of blows away into the ether. Come in every now and then. It's you know, take it as it comes kind of thing. I think it's more interesting when it's kind of paired with some news, like, you know, the Brian Michael Bendis working on Action 1000, the imagery with the red trunks and everything. That's kind of cool. It's fun. What time are we at? 10, 12, 10. All right. Gotta wrap this up here. What else do you guys have planned for the day? I know some of you guys, it's late tonight, but for those of you in California, I guess the football game started. All right, I'll see you guys later. Okay. Now here I'm like, I try to hide this arm. I'm thinking of even just like making it all black. But before I make that decision, let's see what happens if I just kind of make it darker and darker. All right, so it kind of fades off. Okay. There's one fingernail, 2, 3, and 4. Oh, it's just on the East Coast. And the South was super cold too. It's crazy. We soften up that kneecap. That's the calf here. The rest of her costume is here. Abs are here. That leg is pretty long, so I might shorten it right here for a second. Right about here. Right. Excuse me. Cast that shadow properly. Okay. Not so sure about that pixie hat there. Pop that in here. It's almost like little bits of embers. Bueller. And I wonder if I should go. You know, I'm going to try something. What happens if I go this way? Mystic effects around the hands. I am hearing this. Sorry, I'm yelling. That's they're very kind of open. I didn't do the lines around the bottom of the hands because I'm going to give you guys what you want. I'm gonna. I'm going to draw a mystical. I'm going to draw a mystical symbol. I don't know if this will work. And it kind of worked. Let's see, get roughly the same shape. All right, let's see if I can lay this down properly. Create another one that's further over here, right there to balance it out. And so I'll show you what I'm doing basically. I'm just drawing over the same pattern over and over and laying it down like that. Okay. I've got a lot of like whiteout effects. I think perhaps a little too much. So I'm going to go back in and reduce the intensity of some of these by just kind of dabbing. You'll sort of start seeing these kind of so they're not so bright on the page because that white really does pop. The stuff I want to remain, and then kind of reconnect up some of this hand. A little flecks of magic. Okay, I'll get taken care of. Sorry, I'm going to clean up that knee. I'll do one other thing here. Okay. Okay. So that's done for real.